Oh, we there?
Yep, we're on.
All right, I'm Rex.
I'm Taylor.
We're here from Donnybrook Fight Promotions, and tonight we have a special guest, Chris Wilmore, the founder of Street Beefs, the Street Beefs organization here. But before we head over there, I just want to, this special podcast, this is brought to you by The Source. The Source is over in East Montpelier. It's owned by Gabriel Cole. They specialize in Subarus, but not only Subarus, but Toyotas. They have a Toyota mechanic right there. So, hey, if you have anything, if you have your Toyota, your Source is the place to go for your Subarus and your Toyotas. Other than that, let's get right over because Chris has another podcast that he's heading to.
We're gonna send a stream.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Can you hear us, Chris?
Yep, I can hear you.
You like to be called Chris or Face?
Everybody calls me Face.
Perfect. Hey, so can you tell our fans? Well, first of all, for those of you that don't know, Face and his family, they're going to be coming up here. They're going to be our special guests. They have a VIP table. They're going to see the whole experience. They're going to vlog their experience coming to Vermont for in December. And but can you tell our fans a little bit about your Street Beefs, how it started and stuff?
So Street Beefs is, well, now it's a worldwide members org for MMA fighters, boxers, and people that like combat sports. It's a brotherhood of those types of people. When it started, I started it in 2008 as a means
Wow.
for people. Yeah, 2008. It was a means for people who had disputes that could end deadly or violent or with jail. It was a means for them to come solve it, either through mediation or through an MMA or boxing match. And, in 2008 to about 2012, that was the bulk of what we did. But it did grow, and it grew into more than that, just a brotherhood, sisterhood of people that are like-minded, enjoy fighting, and still believe in, not solving disputes with weapons, but jumping people, solve it the old-fashioned way with a good old dust up.
Yeah. Good old Donnybrook, you mean? Come on.
That's it's weird that we have to bring that concept back. To me, that was how you grew up. You had a beef, you didn't shoot your best friend. You went out, you both gloved up, you bloodied each other up, maybe got yourself maybe a broken nose, and then afterwards you went and you had a beer, you sat in a field and talked about it, or you know what I mean? But that was it's wild how we have to bring these old traditions back around.
Well, I don't want to attack American society because I love America. I love it. America's allowed street beefs to exist. But unfortunately, American culture has made street beefs necessary.
Right.
And the fact is, for one, it's just too easy for anybody to get a gun. That's just the facts. Now, to be clear, not all these disputes end with a gunshot. Some end with a knife wound. Some end with somebody getting jumped and beat to death. But the fact is, somewhere along the line, American culture made it okay to stab somebody in the back after getting your ass kicked, or to come shoot somebody from behind after getting your ass kicked. And, with street beefs, you'll see in our New York Times piece, I had a good friend who was a good man, very good man. Took care of his son. His son used to come play football with me and the neighborhood kids. And the dad would come up when he got off work and he would play too. Great guy. Well, he was trying to visit that son. And the baby's mother had a new boyfriend. The new boyfriend was threatened by dad. And he told dad, don't come back over here. Well, of course, dad said, my son's there. I'm going to come back over. So on Christmas Eve, he came to pick his son up. and the new boyfriend shot him in the back and killed him on Christmas Eve in front of his son. And I know that little boy. He's not a little boy now, but I can't explain how bad it traumatized him on Christmas Eve watching his dad bleed to death, all because this guy had an attitude that was scared to fight.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, it probably wouldn't have even taken a fight if somebody could have just mediated. And that's the thing with street beefs. People don't realize all of what we do doesn't end with a fight. A lot of it ends with talk, with mediation. But the bottom line is that the theme is you damn sure don't got to kill nobody because you have a dispute.
And that's the thing is, we're lucky here in Vermont. I've traveled around the world. I mean, I've lived in El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras. I've lived in a lot of cities and stuff like that, and we're blessed here in Vermont. We don't. They're very rare, those kind of cases. So I don't think people realize how much this impacts other places besides where we're at. Like I said, we've been lucky. We've had similar situations, but they're few and far in between. We don't have millions of people stuck in a little city. So, I think a lot of people miss the point of street beefs. And to me, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that is, to me, that I thought it was a perfect concept. You're doing two things. You have two men, you have two people that are able to settle a beef the way that they should be settled. That was, like I said, growing up, we didn't do a drive by. We didn't shoot up somebody's house. If you got beat up, you would go get your bigger friend to go get him to see if he could beat him up. That was just the way that kind of went. So when we saw street beefs, we're a huge part of our community. We always have been. We're fighting an opioid crisis up here. That's our big thing that we got.
We are too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Especially the damn, how am I forgetting the name? The fentanyl.
fentanyl.
It's killed a lot of people.
Yeah,
And I know it's not the subject. I'll just say this real quick. I got a love-hate relationship with fentanyl because when I was a young man in the streets, it almost killed me. But I once got in a car wreck. I broke both my ankles, compound fractures, bones out. And they gave me a shot of morphine, didn't help. I screamed. They gave me another shot, didn't help. They said, we can't give him no more. He's going to OD. They waited a few minutes. They gave me a shot of fentanyl. I went right to sleep. So it has medical uses.
Yes.
The problem is people are prescribing it for fucking back pain.
Yeah, when they abuse it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't prescribe fentanyl patches for a disc injury. I've got disc injuries. They do hurt.
I'll be right back.
But come on. But
Right.
that's another topic for another day. But yeah, we got the opioid crisis. The crazy thing is, where I lived in Harrisonburg, there would be people that Google and say, oh, well, Harrisonburg only had a couple murders. Listen, those couple murders, all occurred within my little circles. But aside from that, the region, if you look at Richmond, Virginia, it was the murder capital of the country before.
100%.
Yeah, Richmond was bad.
Yeah, it was.
But then if you look at the DMV, which is DC, Baltimore, Richmond, oh my God. It's
yeah.
paradome. And a lot of the fighters we get are from DC, Baltimore, or Richmond. And listen, I have one young man years back. He had approached me and my wife in the store, and he said, "Man, I've been getting in fights, and I got stabbed a couple months ago, and blah blah." And I said, "Listen, dude," I said, "You got to make a decision. Do you want to live or die? Do you want to keep this shit up, or what do you want to do? Because if you don't make a decision now, you're dead." And years later, he comes up to me in 7-Eleven, and I didn't recognize him. And he tells me, "Man, after that speech you gave me, I went to school and I got a degree." and I'm doing good. And that right there was more valuable to me than anything I've ever done because I felt like I really impacted him. And I know we've impacted people like that at Street Beefs because when these guys have disputes, we try to sit down and talk to them because I know when I was at my worst, conversation a lot of times would snap me out of it.
Yep. That's
You know,
awesome. I find I get the most pleasure these days. I don't compete anymore. I'm old, and I don't have the drive to compete anymore. I get more satisfaction out of teaching and watching, not only like just learn, being so excited about learning, and then to see them actually perform techniques that I showed them how to do in a live situation. That just, to me, that means more than anything.
well, it definitely, when you see the young people soak up the info and you feel like you've done something positive in their life, listen, there was a time where I did nothing positive in nobody's life. And,
I feel that.
I just, I had a bad reputation, deservedly so. And now, for about 15 years, my reputation's been positive and a good impact. And that's a good feeling, and it's because of Street Beefs.
That's awesome, man. You guys have come. So, how many followers are you up to right now?
I know on YouTube, I think we have 4.5 million subscribers. Then I think on Insta, we're right at 3 million.
Wow.
Did you ever think that you'd see the day that 4 million people would want to come and see you, my man?
Definitely not in the beginning. I know when we started, I didn't expect it to, listen, the way it started was two guys approaching me out of the blue saying, if you don't let us fight, we're going to kill each other. I was known in my neighborhood as somebody that fought, that people respected. And when these guys approached me, they really just approached me for that reason and because my backyard was secluded. They had just street fought.
Right?
They just street fought right in front of my house, and they said, we're going to go to jail or we're going to kill each other. Let us fight. So I said, all right. I said, but y'all got to give me your word that you're not going to kill each other after you leave, And they did. They fought. And then after that, it just went haywire. I had more people coming. And I can tell you, it's I never anticipated this. Never. I won't say never, but I'll say in the beginning, never. After about 3 months, I realized that we had something big. The first
And
3
lots
months,
of people have tried to steal your shit too along the way.
yeah, and here's the funny thing. When I bring that up, people say, well, you didn't create fighting. How are they stealing? I said, no, I didn't create fighting. Okay, but if you got a potato chip, and we know potato chips existed, but if I package it a special way, and I flavor it a certain way, and I name it a certain way, and I sell it at a certain time, that's unique to me. And
Yep.
I took these types of fights, I packaged them a certain way, I framed them a certain way that was unique. And now you're seeing a lot of people trying to package their fights the same way. And in fact, I'm not a look at me or he stole my idea type guy, but we started tag team boxing. I'm telling you, nobody was doing tag team boxing before we doing it on YouTube. Now I see pro orgs doing it. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
But it's cool, because at least you see that people, like when I seen that, I was like, well, damn, that means somebody from that org watches Street Beefs.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. It was fun. I get that because we started the Small Glove Muay Thai up here, and we're one of the only promotions that do that. And then we would see other promotions like try it and stuff like that. But we got the lockdown on we got some pretty bad dudes when it comes to Small Glove Muay Thai on the professional level. Our current champ right now is John Pina, and he has over 100 professional fights. He's just nasty. He's a sniper when it comes to it.
Really?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's his record with y'all?
He is 2-0 right now. 1-0. He just won our title. He knocked out Keegan Hornstra in the first round and took the title from Keegan. But he's the former WBC World Kickboxing Champ.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Man,
he
that's
does
high
a
level.
zombie Muay Thai over in
Yeah, he
New
owns
York.
Zombie Muay Thai in New York City.
Yeah.
Tony Loco. You know Tony Soto, Tony
Yeah.
Loco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him
Yeah.
and Tony are best friends. Their gyms
Really?
are like side by side.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, whole family's looking forward to coming up. I wish we had scheduled on a day where I had a little more time. I hate to get on here and then rush right off on you. Um, but I'll tell you this: when we come up, I'm bringing my sons. Esteban's coming. We had planned on setting ringside, and maybe at that point I could get back on as well.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah.
We're
And
excited.
we'll have to talk about what works better for self-defense, jiu-jitsu or boxing.
Well, look, I got 5 minutes. Let me say, people hate. They absolutely hate my take on this, or I don't say people. A lot
Right.
of MMA guys. So let me see if I can frame this to where this makes sense and it penetrates anybody's bias out there. Listen, I'm not saying MMA is bad for self-defense. Here's what and jiu-jitsu specifically. Here's what I'm saying. Okay. First of all, MMA in particular is specifically built for a grappler. Understand that Royce Gracie was one of the main people that was involved in the UFC when they started. An MMA cage is set up perfectly if you want to grapple. There's no sharp edges. There's no concrete to slam your head on. There's no, friends that are going to jump in and stomp you. But the fact is, in a street fight, if you slam somebody, you may hurt yourself hitting your head on the concrete. If you're rolling around on the ground, you're going to scrape yourself up, cut yourself up. And not to mention, this guy, there's a specific story with street beefs. Good friend of mine got in a street fight. And this grappling thing is close to home for me because of this story. He gets in a street fight. He's absolutely whooping this dude's ass. He's got him pinned on the ground. He's in full mount. Guy pulls out a pocket knife and stabs him in the thigh. Cuts his femoral artery. My friend bled to death in 3 minutes. Okay. Had he been, he may have still got stabbed if he was standing. Maybe. But I feel like when you're on top of somebody, it's a perfect position for them to stab you from the bottom. Now, secondly, when you're grappling, and we've tested this, we didn't test it all out with people just swinging as hard as they could, but when you're grappling and you're on the ground, it's so easy for 3 or 4 people to kick, stomp, beat you. I'm not saying that can't happen if you're standing up, but I'll tell you this. If you gave me 2 choices, be on the ground engaged in grappling with 3 people around me, or standing, moving, guess what I'm going to choose? People take me saying this as me saying, stay away from grappling, don't learn any grappling.
Right.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I wouldn't make it my base for self-defense. If you're going to go fight professionally or sanctioned, yeah, you better know grappling. You better know it well, okay? But for self-defense, stay on your feet, throw hands, keep moving, try to get out of the threat. And that's...
So I don't know if you know this, but I'm a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm getting ready to test for my black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
amazing.
I also hold belts in Taekwondo, Judo. So I have a huge grappling base. I also teach I'm the instructor for the self-defense course. And exactly what the problem that we have in the jiu-jitsu community is they're starting to separate between your sport jiu-jitsu
And combat jiu-jitsu.
and your self-defense. So the
Yep.
very first thing that we teach them, and I tell every single one of them, we all know that 80% of fights will end up on the ground. But we know for a fact 100% of them start standing up. So every jiu-jitsu school, if you're not learning basic striking to start the fight, it's like learning jiu-jitsu and never learning a takedown. How the fuck are you ever going to implement jiu-jitsu if you can't get them to the ground? So
Now,
self-defense jujitsu, the reality to self-defense jujitsu is you use jujitsu to get up off the ground. It's made to make so people can't pin you and hold you to the ground. It's not made to go to the ground and start fighting on the ground.
and I think what throws people off is you see these MMA guys, you see these jiu-jitsu guys grabbing people and pulling them into their guard.
Yep.
That's like in a street fight, you would never do that.
Absolutely not.
And I'm running behind, but I want to
All
say
right, my man.
one last thing here, if you don't mind. And I won't challenge this because I know you didn't come up with the same, but I always hear that 80% of fights end up on the ground. And probably in sanctioned MMA, that's true. But I watch street fights on YouTube all day. I've been in a lot of them. I've seen a lot of prison fights. I don't think 80% end up on the ground. I would say there is a portion that do. And I think even the ones that do end up on the ground are sloppy. You'll see two guys kind of stumble and
you don't need a lot on the ground. You don't need a lot of it doesn't take a lot of technique to get away from an untrained person.
And I guess what I've always said is it's just the investing 15 years to become a jiu-jitsu black belt. If you're just doing it for self-defense, to me, is killing an ant with a sledgehammer. Now, again, if you're doing it because you love the art, and don't get me wrong, jiu-jitsu is badass. If you can put a guy in a triangle boom like that, that's impressive. Right. I'm just saying if you're strictly thinking about surviving a street altercation, I would start with striking.
100%.
Is my opinion.
100%.
I hope I can come back on and talk with you guys more. I'm so sorry.
Yes. You get to your podcast and we'll do the same. We need to make it down to one of your shows. We absolutely want to check it out. Me and the wife take a trip and
we'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
And we'll be up December 7th, correct?
Absolutely. You'll be up the whole week before. We got you a room for the whole week before.
We're looking forward to it. Well, hey, it was very nice to meet you.
It was awesome to meet you too, my man. You take care.
Have a good night.
So, guys, that was Face, the founder of Street Beefs. It just a super interesting guy. I really resonate with him because we both have a similar background. What's that?
I was going to say, he just gave us Edward Brown. He's commenting on here right now. He gave us a really good fighter from Street Beefs.
Yes. Edward Brown. Absolutely. Oh, hey, Eddie. Is Eddie still on here?
Yeah, I think so.
Because don't we have a guy for him?
I'm hoping so.
I think we got that squared away now. So, Eddie, we will be getting a hold of you as soon as we get off here. Let me... I don't know about any. He's in the wrong one. Never saw that.
Sorry, random stuff
before.
So good.
He's. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. So I'm messaging. I'm getting messages. Well, this is going on. We're still trying to get fight stuff squared away. Yeah. So I've been in a ton of street fights.
I've been jumped before. Taking someone down and mowing them is like a cheat code until they have friends.
Right?
Yep.
Absolutely. But the thing with knowing jiu-jitsu is you're never going to get pinned to the ground and let 4 or 5 people kick the shit out of you because you can absolutely get out from underneath them and stand back up. Yeah. And what's the old saying that they say? If one man can pin you down, 2 can rape you.
I don't think I was told that before bed. So
I start every kids class by telling the kids that.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're not traumatized at all.
Right? Oh, they'd be way more traumatized if they were pinned down and raped by an adult.
I mean, I'm sure, yes.
All right. So, guys, December 7th, main fight. What do we got?
Mike Souza versus Chris Perot.
2 local guys, 2 tough guys. That'll be a good fight right there. Co-main event.
We got, what's his face? Corey Norman and Ed Collins. I was going to mix them up. I was going to say Corey Collins, and that didn't make any sense.
No, I just talked to Corey yesterday on the phone. He was getting in a workout, getting in wrestling practice. I talked to Ed today. He was heading over to get punched in the face by Chris there. I think that's what those guys were doing.
Did you send over the contract for that third professional?
Yes.
fight?
Yes. We also have
Felipe Gunter.
Felipe Gunter's coming back. Felipe Gunter from Maine is coming back down. He's going to be fighting one of Edward Anthony's guys, Tavon Thomas, right? That's his name,
Yep.
Tavon Thomas, for 135 pound, 140 pound catch weight MMA professional fight. So that'll be good. That'll be another good fight.
3 professional fights, guys. 3. That's what we said. Yes.
So far, we may end up with more, but let's see. We got a huge card though this time.
Yes, really big card. If you guys sponsors, again, tag people in here that might want to sponsor this event. This is a really big event. There's going to be over 10 fights. This will be probably over 4 hours of fighting for everyone. So there's going to be more than enough content for everyone and everything.
Yep.
And we've been giving away, right now we only have second row tables and general admission. But if you want to do like a bigger deal with us, we can talk about the future shows as well.
Right.
So
also, we just got a huge shipment in for the Donnybrook event shirts, Train Hard, Fight Easy, and our retro.
Yep, the retro ones are back.
Yes.
The embroidered ones.
The embroidered ones.
Sorry, there we go. This way.
Yes.
I'm going backwards.
So we just got a huge order of those. We'll have those at the show.
Flip that around.
Yep.
Just got that on it. Yep.
Perfect. So, all right, guys, that's it for tonight. We will see you next Monday.
Can you,
What?
Patty, if you come in, you can train with the MMA fighters at Granite City. You have to sign a waiver.
Yep.
But yes,
They punch back though.
they do. Some of them do. Yes, most of them.
Most of them.
In fact,
Yep.
they're trained for it. But so yeah, that's all, folks. And
All
we'll
right,
see you
guys.
next week.
Train hard, fight easy. We will see you next week.